The Leica Q3 is the best camera I own, and I do not say that lightly. So I've had the Leica Q3 for over 8 months now, and within that 8 months, I've used it on jobs, I've used it for family, I've used it for BTS, and I wanted to share my experience and talk about how I got here and share some of the things that I've shot, over the last 8 months to kind of give you all an idea of what the camera can do, but also, shed light to those who are thinking about, purchasing this camera. My journey started when it comes to having a small, portable, highly capable camera a few years back. And I started out with the Canon, RP. It was a beautiful camera. I love the Canon system. I love the interchangeable lenses. The images I made were beautiful. I love the Canon colors. But something about it was just off. I kept purchasing it over and over and over, and I wouldn't be surprised if I got another one. But with the RP, I didn't really get that, depth of field or focal length and, that fast glass. So I would always find myself in positions where I love the image, or I really, really like the image, or I may not love the image. And I don't think it's like the actual camera itself. I think it's more so the inspiration I get from using the camera. Fast forward, I switched to the Sony A7CR, which had the 60 megapixels, the video, the sharpness, but it lacked in color. I did not like the skin tones on the A7CR, but I loved the contrast. I loved how sharp it was. I just didn't like it as, that walk around everyday camera. But I did like it that I could use it in my Sony ecosystem. I could shoot with it, in conjunction with the FX3s and the FX6s. I like the fact that I could use it on a job if I needed to, or on jobs where we needed photo and video and we're doing mixed media things, the Sony matches. But after a while, it was just kind of difficult to get a good feel for it. I did rent during this time. I did rent a Q3 and rent a A7CR before I purchased them. And I liked the Q3, but I didn't like the autofocus. And I loved, how fast the autofocus was on the Sony, but I didn't like the colors. And I love the Canon, but it just didn't feel, something about it was off. I couldn't understand it. And I was a die-hard RP user, and I still to this day love that camera. I wouldn't be surprised if I found my way, to getting another one, which led me to, trading my A7CR and some things for a Leica Q2 monochrome. And that I really, really loved. I loved the monochrome. Monochrome was beautiful. Autofocus is not bad when you're comparing it to a Leica that's always manual. You just set your parameters, you take a few pictures, or you're looking at it like a slower, medium format type camera. You're not trying to be super quick with it. And that camera was beautiful, but it wasn't color. So, down the line, I find a really good deal on a Q3. And at first, I didn't think I was gonna like it as much, but something about how it renders color is just spectacular. Something about, how small it is, the sharpness of the lens. The other cameras just could not compete when it came to pure image quality. The video is okay. I didn't really use video at all, but the stills, they just pop. And I mean, they pop. Now, I will say, again, it's super expensive, for what you get. It makes sense because the lens itself is triple the price, but it's the image is just very robust. It's a very beautiful image. It's a very contrasty image, and it can be used with other cameras. I just don't know how to explain it. It's just beautiful. Now, the autofocus is not the best. It's kind of clunky, but the image is good. And for some reason, it's just a very inspiring camera for me. It is expensive. The autofocus is clunky. It doesn't have Lightroom support, which is kind of crazy to me. So you have to really tweak the colors when you get there. But overall, it's just like it's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful set of images. And I use it in a lot of different places, right? So my inspiration for getting the camera in general was a guy named Olin Collardi, wonderful DP. I would consider him a mentor because he mentors a ton of other filmmakers. And he, uses it as his BTS. And you would see him on an IG, post a dump. And I'm like, obviously his lighting is great, but it also opened this idea of like creating images on set and bringing a camera that's small but capable, so you can take like portraits and different things on set. And I started doing that. Started taking portraits on set, started taking BTS. I started taking, different things that just added to the overall idea of the production. And in addition to that, I would actually take it on jobs as another camera to like take pictures and to like, use it as another camera that was quick and easy. When I was doing things with my Canon or doing things with my Fuji, I'll just have it as a backup because it's sharp, it's capable, and it can be that wide camera. I can throw a flash on top, and then, I would take it home, use it for home stuff, shoot my daughter, shoot my wife. But then I would just shoot everyday moments, right? Like the sun hitting a building or, lights coming in. It's just like finding different moments to sort of create and just see different things. And I think the big thing and the big takeaway I want folks to see when it comes to, this camera is just like finding something that inspires you. And that could be an iPhone, that could be, all these other things. But the added benefit of it being an actual camera is that you won't take a picture and then decide that you want to go on Instagram or text someone or do whatever. Like when I take a photograph, I set it down and that's it. And I think, in this very, synthetic world that we're living in, having things that are physical, that are not attached to something else, like single-use devices, just really put a lot of things in perspective and help you focus and do the, the job that you want to do. To summarize it all, I started with the Canon, finished with the Leica. There's nothing wrong with the Canon RP, which is my highly, highly recommended camera for BTS and just like having a camera in general. There's nothing wrong with the A7CR, super sharp, super capable, beautiful, beautiful autofocus. I did not like the skin tones. And then, the Leica series is probably my favorite. The Q2 monochrome was my favorite camera, but it just was monochrome, no color. And, the Q3 is what I've been rocking with ever since then. So yeah, I hope you all enjoy the pictures. I hope you all enjoy my ramble. I hope it all made sense. But these 8 months with this camera has just been phenomenal. And it's had so many more use cases than I initially thought it was gonna have. And I thought it was hype, but it's not. The Leica Q3 is here. When the Leica Q4 comes out, I'm sure it's gonna be monumental. But like all this to say, it's not about the money. It's not about the camera. It's about finding a tool that inspires you to create. And I hope that this gave you insight into this specific camera in this specific time, and that journey to get to something versus I just woke up one day and bought one. This whole journey is a process. Your whole journey is a process. And I think, as you grow, as we all grow, like the tools and the inspirations changes over time. And for me, in my current state, this is something that really inspires me, and it's been a great value for my everyday life and everyday projects. So thank you all for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.